The word intercom doesn't really cover the capabilities that they bring to us as motorcyclists. They do so much more than allow communication between riders, especially mesh units like the ones we're covering here. They connect to our phones and navigation devices to keep us in touch with the world as we ride. And mesh units like these open up the possibility of large groups of riders all interconnected and able to keep in touch with each other as we ride along. That's where mesh units have the upper hand on simpler Bluetooth only systems, which make it harder work to set up and maintain a group connection. If you ride alone with a pillion, or you want comms with one other bike, then a Bluetooth only unit will do that perfectly well, and it will be cheaper. There's a link in the description below to our top 5 Bluetooth only comms. But if it's mesh that you want, then these are our 5 most popular units that have both mesh and Bluetooth communication capability. We've selected these systems based on customer review data and also the knowledge of our SPS team. If one intercom stands out as the most popular of the lot with owners, then I would say it's this, the Cardo Packtalk Edge. It's had nearly 200 owner reviews as we record this and an impressive average rating of 4.82. Praise sings out from those reviews. Owners love the 40mm JBL speakers, the magnetic air mount, Cardo's natural voice control, and they also take confidence from an IP67 waterproof rating. One owner who upgraded from a basic unit says it was like going from a Ford to a Ferrari, and lots of people say they wish they'd bought one sooner. There are occasional quality issues, but there always will be the odd fault after so many reviews. If you took the time to read all 193 owner reviews, which I did for this video, then I think you'll want a Packtalk Edge by the time you get to the end. Then it's just about whether you can reach to the price. As we record this, the list price for a Packtalk Edge is £357 for a single and £635 for a twin pack. Sena's 50 series has been their most advanced for the past few years, and this is the version with the jog dial for controls. That sets it apart from the 50R, which has buttons instead, and the 50C, which has a camera snooping out from the front. An average customer approval rating of 4.75 from 32 reviews makes this Sena's most popular system with our customers. They love the sound quality from the 40mm Harman Kardon speakers and the battery life, which is claimed at up to 16 hours. The ability to update the firmware without plugging the unit into a computer is also seen as a positive. It's not universal praise. The lack of a waterproof rating annoys some, as does the relative bulk of the unit itself. The Sena 50S has a list price of £279 for a single as we record this, and it's £529 for a twin pack. In essence, this Cardo Packtalk Neo is a more affordable version of the Packtalk Edge that we covered earlier. While you're riding, it does pretty much everything the Edge does. It has the same range and battery life, the same IP67 waterproof rating, and the same 40mm JBL speakers. But the list price is £61 less than the Edge. You do lose some features for that price saving. The Edge has a clever magnetic mount, you can charge the battery while you ride, and the warranty lasts 3 years. The Neo has a clip mount, you can't charge while you're riding, and the warranty lasts 2 years. That doesn't seem to upset owners, whose comments echo the positivity we see for the Edge. The sound quality is loved, and a lot of people say the clip mount is perfectly decent in its own right. As we record this, the list price for a single Cardo Packtalk Neo unit is £296, and it's £540 for a twin pack. Sena's 30K sits lower in their range than the 50S, but the spec isn't too far off. The main difference is the speakers, which drop from the 50S's Harman Kardons to regular 40mm HD speakers. It charges with micro USB rather than the newer and easier USB-C, and you'll need to plug it into a computer to update the firmware. There's no FM radio, but they can be more trouble than they're worth anyway. Otherwise, claimed range from bike to bike is the same, you still get voice control, and the quoted battery life is marginally more than the 50S. Owners are generally positive about the 30K, liking the sound quality and the ease of setup. The main issues seem to surround Sena's corresponding phone app, although that is the same app you'd use with a 50S anyway. There's also the common criticism that comes Sena's way. No waterproof rating does dent confidence in whether their units will survive a wet ride. A single Sena 30K has a £249 list price as we record this, and a twin pack is listed at £449. If your mates have Senacoms, then you don't have to buy Sena to communicate with them over mesh. Interphone and Sena mesh units will connect to each other, and the customer reviews suggest that partially explains the Interphone U-com16's popularity. The spec on this unit is good, and crucially Interphone give an IP67 waterproof rating. That sets it apart from Sena, who don't quote a waterproofing rating for their comms. The U-com16 is a bit slimmer than its Sena equivalents, but the claimed battery life is shorter at 8 hours in mesh rather than 13 or 14 hours that Sena claim. Customer reviews have dried up for this unit lately, but a 4.91 average rating from 11 reviews shows it's pleased the owners who have left their feedback. There are issues though. You need to charge the unit while it's on the helmet, and you can't get a kit to let you easily swap between two helmets. The Interphone U-com16's list price as we record this is £250 for a single unit and £440 for a twin pack. Right, that's our top 5, but there are some systems that don't make it to the list that still deserve a mention. If you know your riding group all use Sena or Interphone mesh, then the ST1 and RT1 from Sena are worth a look. They both use only mesh, which keeps the price down. We've not included them in our top 5 because they can't communicate with other devices via Bluetooth, which does reduce the versatility a lot. Sena have also just released their new range-topping 60S, which has a very high spec level. I've started using it, and while it's a bit too early to put it in this year's top 5, sound quality and voice control is good. I've not had a chance to try it out bike to bike yet. On the Cardo front, the Packtalk Pro is their high-spec mesh unit, but it's not made anything like the splash that the Edge has. You might still find some stock of the Packtalk Custom as well, which is effectively a Packtalk Neo with some features turned off, and you can then pay a subscription to turn the features back on if you want them. Again, that one's just not appealed to riders in the same way the Edge and the Neo have, and it's not really a surprise that Cardo appear to have dropped it from their lineup. Now, before I wrap up, I've got a general point to make about intercoms. I've now read a few hundred owner reviews for these 2 intercom videos we've made, and it's clear to see the vast majority of owners love what comms have brought to their riding. People who don't have an intercom can be quite dismissive of them, and personally I can understand that. But reading the reviews, there are loads of people who say they wish they'd bought a comms unit years ago. By contrast, I don't remember reading a single review where someone says an intercom is a load of old tut and that they wish they'd never bought it. Now, of our top 5 mesh and Bluetooth communicators, I think Cardo's Packtalk Edge is the one that stands out. That's because of its sheer popularity with customers. The feedback feels like a total love-in, and it is very hard to overlook that. The Cardo Packtalk Neo is another great option. It's the same unit as the Packtalk Edge in all key aspects, but you save a good chunk of money in return for dropping some relatively fringe benefits. The 2 Sena units here sit pretty close to each other in terms of price, but the 50S is ahead of the 30k on customer feedback. With better speakers, easier firmware updates and a better charging port, I think it's worth the extra £30 outlay for a 50S. Now, Sena's Achilles heel is waterproofing. That's not to say they have a problem with the units getting damaged in the rain. Only one customer review mentions water damage, and on top of that, our returns team say they very scarcely get rain damaged units sent back to them, if ever. The issue is that Sena don't give a waterproof rating, and that does affect people's confidence. Now, that's where the Interphone U-com16 has some appeal. It's Sena tech, it talks to Sena mesh units, and it's got an IP67 waterproof rating. That's the same water resistance rating as all Cardo Packtalk units. Giving a rating does instill confidence in owners. Now, one big thing you need to know about choosing a mesh communicator: if you have a Sena mesh unit and your mate has Cardo mesh, then you can't talk to each other via mesh. You'll have to drop down to Bluetooth technology and connect to each other that way instead. This is the issue that very possibly causes more frustration than any other in our little world of bike kit. Maybe one day Cardo and or Sena will find a way to give riders what they want, but for now you've got to choose your unit carefully. If you've got a group of mates who are all set up on Sena and then you ask to join with a Cardo unit, expect their hands to be flung up in frustration. And it's the same if it's the other way around and you want your Sena patching into a group of Cardo riders. So whatever else separates the units we've covered here, it is better to choose the brand that you have in common with the riders you want to connect with. Now, intercoms are way too complicated to cover completely in a short video like this. You'll find more spec info on the 5 units we've covered here in the description below. There's also a link there that will take you to our written article, which helps you understand the differences between units and work out which comms are best for you. And one last thing, VAT. If you buy a new intercom at the same time as a new helmet, we can knock the dreaded off the intercom, and that will save you 16.66%. So we're at the end. I hope that at least sets you off on your journey towards getting your ideal in-helmet comms. But if there's anything you'd like to ask, or if you've got some knowledge or experience that you'd like to add, then please pop a comment below. Thanks for watching.